Hello, welcome back. Inevitably, you'll have to create something from scratch. Revit doesn't have it, right? It doesn't have a custom piece of millwork or um, furniture, whatever it is that you want, a column, something that is not just a dumb object, but that is flexible. So that that could be 1,000 different things, and instead of trying to show you 1,000 different ways of doing something, I'm going to show you a very simple way to make a schematic block that can flex based on parameters that you give it live in the model instead of editing the block over and over again. Um, so using the same file we've been using, I'm going to select the file and under new, family. So again, Revit operates almost everything through families. Walls are family, ceilings are family. It's kind of their way of saying layer, I guess. But it's how they categorize information. And so we're going to create a new family, and this box popped up, and it says, "What kind of thing do you want to make?" And I said, "Well, I know it's imperial thing, whatever it is." And these are all the types of things I can make: a baluster, annotation, casework, column, ducts, electrical stuff, furniture, etc. But if you don't really know what it is, it's just something that's going to hold your place in the model. I'm just going to use generic. And you can do wall-based, which means it requires a host. You can do a roof-based, again, a host, floor-based, face-based, ceiling-based if you're making lights. I'm just going to do a generic model. And then you'll notice that when it opens, or hopefully you notice that when it opens, the tabs are completely different, right? This is akin to when we were doing model in place components. It's also akin to the massing tool, but this is a family editor, family creation tool built within Revit. And it also creates a new file type called an RFA, which stands for Revit Family, versus an RVT, which is the native Revit file type. So again, I'm going to make something very generic that flexes, and you'll see how that works. So first, in order to make it flex, you have to give it some guidelines to flex to and from. So that's these reference planes. So I'm going to select reference plane, and I'm going to put one on either side, just sort of haphazardly. I'm not really paying attention to if they're equal distant or not. And this is going to be my horizontal parameter that I can make flex. But I want this crosshairs to be at the center of whatever this object is. So in order to do that, I'm going to first make sure that these reference planes are equidistant. I do that by dimensioning them and then hit EQ, and it moves them to an equidistance apart. Then the other thing I'm going to do is, using those same reference planes, select one, select the other, and bring that up. So that right now the total distance for this parameter is 6'11". I'm going to select that parameter, and at the top where it says modify, there's something called label. I'm going to create a new parameter. Now, again, I'm making a very simple one, and I should probably spend a lot more time on this, maybe creating a separate video, the difference between type parameters and instance parameters. But if I wanted a 5 foot by 5 foot block, and that's all I wanted it to be, and I could edit just that one thing and every block would be the same, that's a type parameter. But in this case, I want the block, I want one 5 foot block, I want another to be a 4 foot block, and another one to be a 3 foot block. That's an instance parameter because I can control them independent of each other, right? So it's that whole parent-child relationship. A type is the parent, a child is an instance of that parent, but it could change. So here I'm just going to put block for the name of it. I'm going to make sure it's an instance. Under the discipline, it's already length. It's going to group parameters under dimensions, and that's okay. That's what I want. And notice it's a family parameter, not a shared parameter. And again, I can spend more time on that in a different video. Okay, so that's my, actually, you know what? I need to relabel that. I chose the wrong thing. And what I should have done is labeled that width in that block. The thing I'm making is called block. So I'm going to go to the family types, and that pulls up this dialog box. And notice there's block and it says the width. If I select that one and hit edit parameter, I can relabel it width. So that was a happy accident. So hit apply and OK, and now it's labeled width. I'm going to do the same thing for the depth. So remember, we're looking at plan, so this is a 2D thing. So width and depth, or length if you wish. So click once, click twice. I'm going to make them again equidistant, so that this crosshairs will always be in the middle. And then I'm going to create a new parameter, which is the depth of this thing. So select the dimension string, choose the parameter, depth, instance, hit OK. And then I got one more to make, and that's the height of this thing. So I'm going to go to an elevation, specifically the front elevation. And notice these are my two guidelines off to the side. I think this is my width parameter. I'm going to draw one reference plane this time. Click that point, and then I'm going to dimension it from the top of that to the reference level. And then that reference plane, dimension, will become a parameter called height. Or height. Is it height? GHT? I don't know. I get so confused with the British and the English ways of spelling things. Height. Instance, hit OK, and we're done. Now, so I have made this completely flexible. Now, if I want this to be a three-dimensional object that shows up, right, then I need to model something that's going to respect and respond to these reference planes. So I'm just making a dumb object. So I'm going to go to Create, Extrusion. I'm going to select just Rectangle, and I'm going to select the intersection of these reference planes. Now, this is a very important step. I must lock these locks, because it's locking this line to this reference plane, that line to this reference plane, so on and so forth. Okay? I hit OK, and notice I didn't change the height or any other values. So it's like a depth of 1 foot. I'm going to go to the elevation, and notice that I can make this whatever I want. It doesn't have to be 1 foot, but I can't change that value because it would remove the constraints. So I'm now going to constrain the height to the height parameter. So I'm going to use the Align tool, select that reference plane, select that edge of the finished extrusion, and lock it in place. Okay? So now we have a simple cube that is parametrically driven. And I'm going to test it. So I'm going to look at it in 3D. So go to View, 3D. There's my cube. And under Modify, I'm going to hit this Family Types again, which pulls up this dialog box. And then here are my values. So the depth is 4.6, height is 6 feet, width is 6 feet 1, or 11, excuse me. I'm going to change these are instance parameters. So I'm going to change it to 3 feet, change this one to 3 feet, because I want a 3-foot cube. And then change that one to 3 feet, so it should be a perfect cube. Hit apply, and it did exactly what I wanted to do. It flexed. It won't let me remove it will let me remove the constraints, but I don't want to do that because I want to be numerically driven, not graphically driven. So there's my cube. Now I'm going to save this cube, and you should save all families in the same location, so you have a repository of families. In this case, I have one, let's see, for this project I'm working on called RFA. That's where I keep my families. There's a bunch of families I've created from scratch. I'm going to call this cube, hit save, and then I'm going to load it into my project. Since I only have this one project open, it's going to load it here. So I'm going to put it in this room, and it's going to be my air handler. Okay, so there's my air handler, right? Now I select that thing, and this is what I meant by instance parameter. I can change these here, 5 feet, Make it width 5 feet, and the height will be 8 feet. And then and see how it changed? If that was a type parameter, these would not be here. They would be under edit type, and they would be here. But since it's not a type parameter, it's an instance parameter, they show up here, and I can make 15 of these, or let's just make 2 so I can explain the difference, right? So this is cube, this is also cube, but this is an instance of that, so it doesn't have to be the same. I'm going to change that to things you can see. Sorry, so again, I'm going to change that to something you can see the difference of, so that's 4 feet by 4 feet. And notice, let's make it more dramatic so you definitely notice the difference. Okay, notice it did not, this was a direct copy of that one, but it did not change this one. It did not change the original because it's an instance. Again, had it been a type, it would have changed both. Thanks for watching. If you found this video valuable, please like and share it with others. If you're not already a subscriber, I invite you to subscribe to my channel by selecting the profile picture below. This will take you to my channel with videos like these and many others on topics such as Revit, SketchUp, analog tools, and videos such as these in the playlist next to you that are specific to this topic. Have a great rest of your day.